They were shocked when their deadliest alien dragon mourned the beginning. The war against the alien dragons of Acharis had been raging for generations. For centuries, the people of the Terran Federation had known only terror when they heard the thunderous beating of wings across alien skies. These colossal beings, scaled in obsidian, eyes glowing with an unnatural luminescence, mouths filled with flames capable of reducing starships to molten fragments, were regarded as the most lethal enemies humanity had ever encountered. The first encounter, recorded 200 years prior, had been a massacre. A colony ship, descending upon the lush and mineral-rich planet Karos, was torn to shreds by what survivors later described as dragons birthed from the void. From that day, the Federation decreed that these beings were not to be studied, reasoned with, or spared. They were to be exterminated. But extermination proved impossible. For every nest destroyed, a new brood would rise. For every battle won, dozens more were lost. Entire fleets were reduced to burning wreckage under the claws and firestorms of the alien dragons. Humanity learned to survive not by defeating them, but by avoiding them. Yet the war never ended. And at the heart of humanity's military strategy was the myth of the Blood Maw, the deadliest of all dragons. The Blood Maw was no mere legend. It had been sighted across multiple systems over centuries. Twice the size of any known beast, its wings stretched wider than a battleship. Its flames could pierce energy shields that should have withstood orbital bombardment. Every soldier in the Federation's navy knew its name, and every commander feared the day they might encounter it. That day came on the planet of Asteron 4. Commander Lyra Vale stood on the observation deck of the Vigilant Dawn, staring at the battle unfolding in the sky. Dozens of Terran warships engaged a single massive dragon, the Blood Maw itself. Its scales shimmered like volcanic glass, and with each strike of its wings, shockwaves rippled to the upper atmosphere. Target its wings! Lyra barked into her comm. Pin it down before it reaches a colony zone. Plasma cannons thundered. Missile salvos streaked across the clouds. The dragon roared, fire erupting from its jaws in a torrent that consumed 3 ships in a single blast. The Vigilant Dawn rocked violently as debris scattered into orbit. For hours, the battle raged. Hundreds of lives were lost. But at last, through relentless bombardment, the Blood Maw faltered. One of its wings, torn and bleeding, snapped under the strain. Its massive body plummeted into the canyon lands below, crashing with an impact that shook the surface of Asteron 4. Lyra's fleet circled overhead, battered but victorious. The deadliest dragon in known space had fallen. The Federation had finally won. Or so they thought. Middle. The crash site became a fortress overnight. Scientists, soldiers, and engineers descended on the canyon to study the corpse of the Blood Maw. The Federation wanted proof of its death, trophies to parade across their worlds. But when Lyra arrived at the site, she froze in disbelief. The Blood Maw was not dead. Its body, broken and bleeding, lay across the shattered earth, but its chest still rose and fell with ragged breaths. Its eyes, once blazing with hatred, now dimmed with exhaustion. "Commander," whispered Dr. Sunveros, the chief xenobiologist. "It should be impossible. No creature can survive wounds of this magnitude." And yet, Lyra drew her plasma pistol, her instincts screaming, "Then we finish it." But as she raised her weapon, a sound stopped her cold. It wasn't a roar. It wasn't a hiss. It was the whimper, a low, pained, mournful sound that carried not fury, but grief. The Blood Maw lifted its massive head weakly, gazing toward the canyon wall. Lyra followed its line of sight and saw something that made her heart lurch. Nestled in a hollow within the rock face were 3 small creatures. Hatchlings. Alien dragon hatchlings. Their scales were pale, their wings untested, their cries thin and pitiful. They were no larger than horses, tiny compared to their colossal parent, and they were afraid. The Blood Maw extended a claw toward them, its movements trembling and weak. The hatchlings cried out, stumbling toward their parent, their tiny wings fluttering uselessly. Lyra's hand shook around her pistol. No, it can't be. But it was. The deadliest alien dragon, the scourge of humanity, the nightmare of Federation, was apparent, and it was dying. The camp erupted with conflicting voices. "Kill it before it recovers," barked Colonel Dren Havoc, the ranking military officer. "End it before it kills us all." "No," countered Dr. Veros, eyes wide with awe. This is the first time we've witnessed their familial behavior. This changes everything we thought we knew about their species. We can't just destroy it." Lyra remained silent, her gaze locked on the scene before her. The blood maw lowered its head, curling protectively around its hatchlings. Its breasts grew shallower, but it still tried to comfort them, nuzzling them gently despite its massive wounds. And then, with one last rumbling sigh, it lay still. The blood maw was gone, but its hatchlings remained, pressing their small bodies against their fallen parent, crying in unison. To the soldiers, it was a victory. The deadliest dragon was no more. To the scientists, it was a revelation. And to Lyra, it was something she could not explain, a fracture in the story she had always been told. The monsters weren't just monsters. They were families. The days that followed were filled with debate and unrest. The military demanded the hatchlings be destroyed. They were dangerous. After all, creatures destined to grow into weapons of mass destruction. The scientists pleaded for their preservation. Studying them could unlock secrets of biology, resilience, perhaps even technology. Lyra found herself caught between these factions, her own conscience warring within her. She had lost dozens of comrades in the battle against the blood maw. She had sworn to protect humanity from these beasts. And yet, she could not erase the image of the hatchlings mourning their fallen parent. At night, she returned to the canyon where the hatchlings were kept under guard. She watched as they cried, as they nudged the body of the blood maw, as they refused to eat the rations provided. They were grieving, and Lyra was shocked to realize that, in some way, she was grieving with them. One evening, Dr. Veros approached her. "You see it too, don't you?" he asked softly. Lyra didn't answer. "They mourn. They love. The Federation told us they were nothing but killing machines, but that was never true. We just never looked closely enough." Lyra finally spoke. "If they can feel, if they can bond, then maybe this war's been built on a lie." Dr. Veros nodded. "But try telling that to Havoc, or the Federation Council. They want blood, not truth." As if to punctuate his words, Colonel Havoc stormed into the tent the next morning. "The Council has decided," he announced coldly. "The hatchlings are to be executed. Immediately." Lyra stood abruptly. "You can't. They are future threats." Havoc snapped. "Do you want another blood maw to rise in 20 years? Another slaughter? I won't allow it." The order was set. The hatchlings would die at dawn. But Lyra couldn't let it happen. Ending. That night, under cover of darkness, Lyra made her choice. She disabled the security systems around the hatchling enclosure and slipped inside. The three young dragons lifted their heads, eyes glowing faintly in the starlight. They chirped weakly, too exhausted to resist. "I don't know why I'm doing this," Lyra whispered, kneeling before them. "Maybe because I saw you mourn. Maybe because I spent my whole life fighting monsters, and for the first time, I see you're not monsters at all." She activated a transport beacon, smuggling the hatchlings aboard a concealed shuttle. With Dr. Veros' quiet assistance, she launched into the night sky, fleeing the Federation fleet. By dawn, when Colonel Havoc discovered the empty enclosure, Lyra and the hatchlings were already light years away. They traveled in secret, across uncharted systems, always hiding from Federation patrols. Lyra grew to know the hatchlings by their quirks. One bold and reckless, always testing its wings. One timid, clinging close to its siblings. And one curious, studying Lyra with piercing eyes that seemed far older than its age. Raising them was no easy task. They required immense food, care, and space to grow. But as months turned into years, Lyra saw them thrive. Their wings strengthened, their scales hardened, their cries turned to roars. Yet they never turned on her. They remembered. The day came when Lyra brought them to a distant, uninhabited world, a place of oceans, forests, and mountains, a place where they could live free, away from the endless war. She stood on a cliff as the three dragons, now vast and powerful, took to the skies for the first time. Their wings cast shadows across the land, their cries echoing with joy instead of sorrow. And Lyra, watching them soar, felt a strange peace. "They mourned," she whispered to herself. And because of that, they lived. Back in the Federation, the official record told a different story. The blood maw had been slain, its hatchlings destroyed. Humanity had triumphed. But somewhere, in a quiet corner of the galaxy, the truth endured. The deadliest alien dragon had mourned, and because of that, hope had been born.